Hey, I have a book for you today called Bird by Bird by Lamott, and this book is an essential book for anyone who is teaching writing, whether it be kindergarten through college. And I feel that way because it is a book that talks about what writing is like as a process and what writing is like for you as a process. And I've taught writing for a lot of years, and I never really thought of myself as a writer. I always did have a great empathy for my students, and I think this book helped me strengthen that empathy, and I think that's going to help me be a stronger writing teacher. And I think that's why she wrote this book, in order to show her process, and Lamott is the author, in order to show her process for writing. She speaks fairly on many modes of writing. She doesn't simply write in one genre. She doesn't only write novels. She writes restaurant reviews. She talks about writing personal writing. And so she covers all of the areas. And I know that was my main concern when I read that she wrote novels. But in fact, she does speak quite widely on the many varieties of writing that our students should be proficient at. And Lamont also discusses ideas about writing that I think are essential to our students. The first is starting a composition. She talks about how difficult it can be, even for her, someone who has published many times and someone who is considered to be a professional writer. And I think our students are going to find that interesting, that even she has to go through a bit of a ritual to get her writing started. And it's not like a ritual of getting your pencils and other things. It's a ritual of going through your mind and processing the thoughts. She discusses how to plan your writing, even how to go back after you've already written and replan what you're doing. And another thing she discusses that's really great for classes is how to organize the good ideas that come to you and how to keep track of those things. She discusses a note card system, and as my friends and I have discussed it, we found that we used our phones mostly to keep track of those notes. Another thing that Anne Lamott discusses when she talks about writing in this novel is how does it feel when someone is in the act of writing? And I think that's a place where our empathy for our students can grow, and a place where a lot of our students will find a huge interest in her thoughts on writing. I think especially when you get to the upper elementary to the college age, I think we can share passages of this book with our students. And something that I know we share at the high school level, which some people might be a bit shy about, is the idea of writing a shitty first draft just to get the ideas out. The reason that we talk about this, and the reason she talks about this in her book, is because sometimes you have to say it so that it's not a part of what you're trying to write anymore, just to get it out of the way. So Anne Lamott demystifies writing and the writing process for the writer, and it puts you in the seat of being a writer yourself, even if you've never thought of yourself as a writer. In fact, you'll want to become a writer after reading this, because you'll realize that it's not that difficult to write, and you'll also realize that writing is a very attainable task, even though she talks about the difficulties of it. The thing I liked about this book is that she was never negative about her ideas, and so that made it a really interesting read, even to talk about how something is hard for you and how something is enjoyable. The last thing that Anne Lamott provides the reader is the idea that writing is work and that there is no golden ticket. She talks about it in the workshops that she teaches, and she talks about it for herself, and I think that's something that our students believe exists, that there is a golden ticket. And she points out that it is hard work, but that it's very valuable work and it's very rewarding work.